Hi, welcome to the next step. And this step has to do with the question, I can do this. Can't I? Can I really do this? Remember, we've usually come from a place of a failure. We've tried, we've been successful, we've lost some weight, we've gained it back. And being able to really believe that we can do it, we can make it work, it's not going to come back in the end and bite us, is really hard to believe. So I want to talk about that in this really short training. So the very first thing we want to talk about is your lifestyle vision. With these training materials today, you're going to get a piece of paper that I want you to start filling out, and that is looking at your vision. Vision is another word for goal. If you want to use goal, you can use that. But you want to look at what your real reason is for wanting to drop some weight. For example, we could say, well, I want to get into that size 4 outfit that I wore when I was in high school, when I was a cheerleader in high school. But maybe there's a deeper reason for that. Maybe you want to do that because you want to feel better about yourself. Or maybe you want to prove to yourself that you can do it. Maybe you want to drop weight so that you can roll around with your grandkids on the floor and not hurt yourself. There's all kinds of reasons that we want to lose weight. So we want to make sure that the reason is big enough and good enough and deep enough and wide enough to make it stick for the whole rest of our lives. So make it easy to measure, make it easy to understand, and then look at the positive consequences of having that happen. Also look at the negative consequences of if it doesn't. For example, many people's reason is a health reason. They have diabetes, they have high blood pressure. If they don't drop weight, they're going to die early. That's a pretty negative consequence. So looking at both the negatives and the positives is really important. And then know why you chose this vision. Why is it important to be able to roll around with your grandkids on the floor? Or why is it that you want to fit into that thing you wore in high school? What's important about that to you? What is compelling enough that you're going to go through this process and be successful? And if you haven't got that compelling reason, it's really important to figure it out. So then the next two things you want to measure are how much you believe you can do it. Belief is a really important thing. If we believe it, we'll see it. If we don't believe it, it's really tough to see. It's really tough to manifest. And we run on our belief systems. If we get up to a stop sign, we believe we better stop, we'll get a ticket, or we'll cause a crash. We believe other people need to stop too. Our beliefs run us. And if you start keeping track of what you believe and how that runs you every day, you'll find out how many times in even an hour you do things because you believe it's the right thing to do or it's important to get done. And then how motivated are you? And we've all been down this road. Motivation is tough. We can be motivated some days and some days we're not so motivated, or we can be motivated in the morning but not in the evening. We know that motivation is a huge predictor of success. So we want to keep our motivation levels high. To do that, we need to know what they are. So we want to check in with ourselves many times a day to figure out how motivated we are and how much we believe we can be successful. I have found that if you keep both of those numbers on a scale of 1 to 10 at a 6 or above, then you're in good shape. If not, you need to stop the vision for a minute and work on either the motivation or the belief that you can be successful, because that needs more work at that point than the vision does. The other thing that we want to do is keep a really healthy perspective. How many times have you heard that surgery is just a tool? We hear it over and over and over, and it's a tool that is really important. It's a really heavy-duty tool in our arsenal, and it works for us really well for about a year while we're creating new habits, new ways to think about ourselves, about people, about food, about every aspect of our lives. So we want to keep that perspective that it's just a tool. It's a tool that has a freshness date that's going to go out of style a little bit. Also, it's important to look at things from a perspective of maybe we have a food addiction or a food dependence, and maybe we've got some reasons for that, and we need to look at those. We need to work those through in that time that we're using our tool. The next thing we want to look at is we are going to feel different about ourselves. We're going to look different. We're going to feel different, and we want to feel different. We want to keep the good stuff. We want to reevaluate the rest of the stuff. So we want to step back with curiosity, not judgment, and we want to be appreciative of who we've become and who our new identity is. Also, our body's going to change, and it's not going to be the perfect body. We're going to have sags that we didn't have before. We're going to have all kinds of things. You're going to be surprised at what your body decides to do. But if we can look at it with gratitude and appreciation, that will really help. Each of these will be explored further in more training videos. The last thing we want to look at in this section is our strategies for staying on track. There are as many strategies as there are people. Here are a few that work for my clients and for myself. Make sure you get your water. Make sure you pre-track. You know what you're going to eat that day so that you don't get too hungry and eat things that you shouldn't eat. Make sure that you get up and move. Take your supplements. Get enough protein. Protein is the basis for stopping the cravings. Make sure that you get out of the habit of grazing. Get the temptation out of the way. If you're not sure you can handle it, don't put it out there. Right now, abstention is okay, and it's actually a good thing until you get that under control. Use your other hand to feed yourself. That's a crazy thing, but it slows everything down. That non-dominant hand doesn't shovel the food in as quickly as the dominant hand does. Use a journal, whether it's journaling, writing it down, typing it into a computer, dictating it into your phone. Journal when you're wanting to eat off your plan. If you're not hungry and you want to eat, write about it. Feel it, write about it, and understand what's going on for you emotionally. And that will really help. Unpair your eating with other activities. If you're used to going, in the family room and watching TV and eating, unpair TV and eating. Because those two, if you watch TV, you're going to want to eat. And that's not going to be helpful. You won't be eating mindfully, and you won't know when you're full, and you'll keep eating. So start unpairing the activities that you used to do with food. Connect to people instead of to food. There's several training sections that talk about connection and talk about connecting with people. This is one of the most important things you can do. So I won't say too much more about it here. You'll get it in other spots. But consciously be aware of, am I connecting to food or am I connecting to other people? So for your reflection workout in your journal, write down what your vision is, your goal is for your lifestyle, and make sure it's in measurable terms. And by measurable terms, I don't mean I'm going to lose X amount of weight. I'm talking about I'm going to reduce my blood pressure. I'm going to get off my diabetes medication. I'm going to be able to walk a mile without getting winded. I'm going to be able to play with my grandchildren. I'm going to be able to take them to Disneyland and walk all day long and not need a wheelchair. Whatever those goals are for you. Write down the consequences, both negative and positive, of what happens when you reach those goals. And then write down why it's important to you that you do this. And look at it from a future standpoint. Let your future self dictate to you why we want to do this goal. Determine on a 1 to 10 scale how much you believe today that it's going to happen and how motivated you are, and check in every single day on that scale, because that's really going to be important to your success. And if you do that and you come back to this page over and over and over again, mark it in your book, because it's going to be the page that's sort of your roadmap, your guiding light to where you're moving from here. So good luck, and we'll catch you at the next gym.